Hello, world. Welcome to the Wheels for All podcast, Roll On. Wheels for All is a student-led nonprofit organization that has donated over 100 bikes to low-income families as part of our mission to provide free and reliable transportation for everyone. For our fourth episode, we are here with the wonderful Heath Ellison from Arizona. So to start off, Heath, why don't you tell the listeners a bit about yourself? What do you do?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for inviting me onto the show. I love the cause and everything that you guys are doing. So I couldn't be more thrilled to join you all. So I am the Director of Marketing Services for an international real estate organization. And my second job, or second shift, if you will, is I'm co-founding a cycling apparel brand as we speak. And then I guess my third shift, but my favorite job is being a husband and dad to my two boys.
Yeah, that's really cool that you have like all these you have like your main job and you also have like kind of like your own passion on the side that you can also like spend time in. So like what's your job like for anyone that might be interested in knowing?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I oversee like I said, the marketing services department or team for really ultimately what we do is focus on being the liaison for our ownership groups or investor groups who are interested in creating or building an apartment complex, if you will, to keep it simple, for rental housing. So they'll come in, they'll have a vision and ask us, hey, this is kind of what we're thinking. These are the finishes. This is kind of the, I guess, the dream that we have. How can you guys bring it to life? And so me and my team will connect with copywriters, anyone, designers, anyone in marketing. We actually operate as an in-house agency. So if there are videos that need to be created, if there's campaigns that need to be created to bring the asset to life, if you will, within the market, that's really our bread and butter and our passion. And it's full of creative minds who just absolutely love being able to create a home and market that within the area of wherever the building's going up.
Yeah, it sounds like you have like a lot of activities that you like to do or like new things that you may want to start. How do you think the pandemic has like affected these plans?
Well, yeah, the pandemic, I think, shook us all, right?
Yeah.
Professionally, personally, emotionally. It really, I mean, it's kind of crazy to believe it's been a year here in Phoenix that we went into lockdown. Today's the 9th, almost a year ago today, and how life has just completely changed. So, professionally, it rocked a lot of things. Our residents are used to being able to go into the office and speak with the personnel there and make a human connection. And same with our team members that are on site. They're used to making that connection with the residents in person. And that's really like there's something genuine about the human connection and being there in person that we really enjoy across the board, whether it be in marketing or as the on-site team. So going virtual, I think we were all thrusted into this new way of doing business. And so that was probably, I guess, from a business standpoint, that really rocked the world. And not being able to connect with my team. We all share an office, and I love being able to sit down and just outside of my office, there's all the creative designs and direction and the imagination coming to life. All the papers get posted up or were posted up outside of my office. So being able to see those visions come to life and the conversations around it in person There's just something organic and almost like joyful that comes up every time that we go through a new brand. So that was huge for me in that capacity. As far as starting new things within the pandemic, it has opened up, I guess, new ways of thinking about things. And for me specifically, so one of the things that I decided I would lean into is cycling, and then more so into like photography and sharing my adventures that I can do locally here in the area. So I love being able to go out, and I've always had a passion for running. I got into cycling about 10 years ago. And when the pandemic hit and lockdown hit, I'm like, all right, I can only run so many days and only do so many push-ups on my couch, like with my legs inverted, like I've got to do something else. So I got the bike tuned up and started putting in the miles again on the bike and really just fell in love with it again. So enjoyed that. And then it reconnected, going through that reconnected me with a really close friend of mine from college who had always had a dream of cycling. And he, him and I got to talking about his vision and what he wants to do with it. And he ended up flying out here during the pandemic for, he has a day job as well. So it's his side job. But ended up flying out here for business. He's like, hey, you want to go for a hike? And then it turned into kind of a business proposition, like, hey, do you want to take some pictures? And I'm like, I am in no way, shape, or form a traditional model. Usually we hire the talent. I am not the talent. But kind of coming out of my comfort zone there and getting behind the camera that day thrusted me into more discomfort, and I guess opening up some new experiences that I did kind of enjoy. So I started picking up my camera and snapping pictures, and using Lightroom and getting to learn a little bit more about deeper levels of becoming a photographer. So it really opened up that passion as well. So all was not lost with the pandemic. I know it shook everyone's world differently, and everybody experienced it, some worse than others for sure. And we had our fair share of scary situations that happened with us, but just staying positive and finding those avenues and really trying to make the most out of it, I think is what carried me through. And so I just hope that I can kind of share that joy with everyone else and be a little bit of a light in it all.
Yeah, I think the pandemic it's really affected people's lives, obviously, but I feel like something that most people don't realize is that there can also be some like positive changes that have come out of the last maybe year or so. Because like, I know that recently we've all had a lot more time to ourselves, and that time can really be used to kind of discover new things or pick up new hobbies. Like personally for me, over the pandemic, I got into cooking because my grandparents are really good cooks, and I decided to pick up on that. And that's one thing that I kind of do pretty regularly these days now. And I also learned how to, yeah. And I also learned how to ride a skateboard.
Oh, no way.
My dad always wanted to learn how to ride a skateboard because he's one of those people who kind of like wants to learn how to do everything. So I remember a few years ago, he bought like a $10 skateboard from like Walmart or something. And he was like, oh yeah, like I'm going to learn how to skateboard. It's going to be so cool. But then like, he just never had time for it because he's really busy. Yeah. He has to go to the office for work 5 days a week and all that stuff. So he never had time to do it.
Time.
Then the pandemic came around. Yeah. And then the pandemic came around. And then like over the summer, last summer was when he finally had the chance to go to a parking lot and learn how to ride a skateboard. And then he got me as well as my sister into that as well. So now the three of us, sometimes we go around the neighborhood on our skateboards, and it's really fun.
That's amazing how it really brings families together. That's a similar situation with my dad and I. He got really into cycling and bought a new bike. So him and I have been going on rides. So it is kind of cool how it did in many ways. Yes, it stripped us apart from connections with other humans that we're normally doing or having engagements with, whether it be at school or whatever, just going to get a coffee, right? But it also thrusted, I think, in many ways, the families made the most of it, brought families closer together too. So I 100% agree with you. What kind of skateboarding are you doing? Like longboarding or?
Yeah, I ride a longboard.
Do you?
I haven't been able to do any tricks yet, but maybe I'll learn one day.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I don't know any tricks on a bike or many, and just in general. So you keep at it, and I'm sure that you'll find them. I used to ride a longboard back in college. That's how I got around from class to class. So I'm sure you'll get comfortable on it in due time.
Yeah, I picked up roller skating because, my brother had a bike and I used to take it all the time. But then over the summer, since like obviously no one really knew how to drive, so we would just bike everywhere. And he usually took the bike and I had nothing. And I remember begging my parents for like roller skates like 2 or 3 years ago, and I got them and then never used them because like I was always busy. So like
Yeah.
finally, like over the pandemic, I finally got to like use them, and I went to like a roller rink like once or twice, and then I just picked up on it. It was actually not that bad. I was kind of scared to try it, but like it was fine.
You got like the old school 4-wheel,
Yeah,
like side by sides.
yeah,
Oh, that's awesome. Do you go with stopper on the front?
yeah. It was one of those. Yeah,
That's awesome. Oh man, it's so funny how you take away that time that everybody spent in the car where we're commuting around, going from point A to point B, and just put everyone in place for a little bit. And how much free time that opens up. Like, how much time are you wasting getting ready, just to go do something? And how long does it take you to get there? If you remove that time and replace it with something else that you just open up a capacity and a space to find a new hobby or a new passion that you never really put time towards. And I think there is some beauty in it, that I hopefully everybody had that experience or had that opportunity and was able to take advantage of it. So it's super cool that you guys sounds like we all kind of had the same mindset. We're like, all right, well, I didn't have this time normally. We'll pick this up.
yeah. I feel like everyone had the time to like pick up on new hobbies or like start like working on themselves instead of just focusing on everything else around them too.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. A little extra self-care, maybe get to know yourself.
Yeah.
Some people are like they didn't know who they were, right, without all these extra things distracting them. So it gave them that extra opportunity to learn a little bit more about me, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we're also wondering like how like you're doing the Ironman triathlon, how training and everything like that is going on for you.
Oh, so I did that a long time ago. So I am not training for that now. That was a super cool experience. If you ever get the opportunity to or have an interest in it, I say go for it. Similar situation. So it was 2010. The market at that time was not that great. I had just graduated college and couldn't find a job. Everybody that had just graduated pretty much had already filled the positions. Probably the 2 or 3 years before, there were a lot of furloughs that were going on at that time, and so it wasn't for another year until things really started to pick up for the job market, especially for somebody that didn't have any experience as a professional trying to go straight from college into the workforce. So with that, I found myself bored again and was like, all right, I was working at a sushi restaurant that I had worked at throughout college, and they had promoted me to a manager. And I was like, well, there's only so many days a week that I can do this. What else am I going to do with my time? Like, how do I take advantage of this time? make myself better, maybe more marketable? Or do I find a passion that a new hobby or something? Like, what is it? Let's check something out. And so I had studied business and kinesiology in college and ended up thinking I wanted to go into physical therapy. And then after I saw the job market, just like, I don't know if I want to take up more student debt and more time at college. At that time, you would have to go back for I think it was 2 more years that I would have had to go to college. Anyways, I digress. Long story short, ended up getting my personal training certificate, and through that I was like, let's see what this body can do before I start pushing other people to see what their body can do. And so through that I ended up finding an interest in the bike. I ended up buying a new bike, and I hated the pool. Just like, why? I don't know if I want to do this, but I might as well try. I think I ended up seeing some sort of Ironman documentary that was on, I can't remember what channel it was, but I found inspiration from it. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. Let's do it. And I told my roommate, I was like, here's what I'm thinking. Why don't we do this together and we can hold each other accountable? He's like, rock on, man. I'm all for it. If we're going to do it though, we got to go big, and we got to do it in somewhere like Hawaii. Like, man, that's like where the pros go. We are not the pros. All right, let's do it. Let's see if we can do it. So ended up signing up for the half Ironman, and it was probably something that I just fell in love with as far as like getting into the gym and spending that time training. I loved it. My roommate at the time didn't take it as seriously, but it was a really cool process to do with a close friend, and be able to like share that experience with someone else. So it wasn't just solely me. So it was though. I mean, every day you're training. I probably spent 4 hours a day in the gym. My recovery days were my days working at the sushi restaurant where I was on my feet for 12 to 16 hours. You know, as soon as I ended up getting a job, it was shortly after I ended up finishing the Ironman. It shattered my entire routine. I put on weight. I was eating this delicious muffin every morning from the little bakery that was under our office, and I really started to miss it. So I can definitely be thankful for the pandemic bringing me back around to that passion. But if anybody is ever even like thinking about, oh, I can't do it, or I would never be able to do something like that, let me tell you, I thought the same thing, and I did it, and I fell in love with it. And maybe, you know, something, hopefully if that advice resonates with anyone and inspires anyone else, I would be thrilled to know that I was able to pass that along, that inspiration or that spark that I felt, and they're able to find that love for themselves and be able to enjoy something themselves too. So that was a really long-winded answer, but it was awesome. And go out and do it.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because like I remember I think I was like 6 or 7 when I heard about it, and instantly I was like, oh, I can definitely do that. Like I was so like confident in myself. And then I grew up and I realized how much it actually is, and I was like, maybe not. So
as far as like how far the distance is, yeah, it's no joke. I mean, and it's funny, I even think about it now. I did the half. So that's a 70.3 mile race. Hey, if you thought that you had an interest in it, I would say go for it. Do not tell yourself it's too far. Since then, I've seen 4 of my really close friends come across the finish line and do the full Ironman. I'm like, oh my God, you guys like doubled what I did. I don't know how you did that. It's incredible. So if you have an interest in it, lean into it, especially now while you have the extra time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Personally, for me, like I can barely run a mile without like feeling exhausted. So like, I'm not like, I mean, I guess I could train for it, but it would probably just take a lot of time.
You could do it. If you can run a mile, you can run 5 miles.
Yeah.
And then half a marathon.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting how like the things that we later find ourselves to, the things that we later like realize that we love doing kind of originate from us trying to just find something to do because we're bored. Like, for example, like for me, like I used to play piano a lot and then I stopped playing. But then after quarantine, like I realized, hey, I have nothing to do. I'm stuck at home like 90% of the time anyway, so I might as well just play something on the piano. And then like after a while, I kind of got into it. And then like these days, like I just play something when I'm like feeling stressed, and it really helps with that.
I love that. I wish I would have stuck with piano. I ended up getting into drums. I was like, I want to be the cool guy and like beat on the drums and make all the noise. But there is just something, the piano and the saxophone that just move me. So stick with it. I would love to be able to go. My parents have an extra piano in their house, and I could just imagine like it was almost like every time I went over for Christmas or some holiday or just birthday or whatever it may be, and like, man, some background noise would be nice. And then there's only so many times I can play so keep it up. I would definitely encourage that.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier that you're creating a brand for sustainable cycling apparel. So what inspired you to do that?
Yeah, well, that's a journey from just having a passion for cycling myself, and then connecting with my good friend who ended up falling in love with it, one of the Ironmen who went further than me. He ended up falling in love with cycling as well. And recently, within the past couple of years, gravel bikes have become a thing where you get a little bit more freedom. It's not a full-blown mountain bike, but you still get the speed of a road bike. And you can go adventuring a little bit more. And he's the type of person who wants to make an impact in the world. And it's like, there's nobody that's that I really want to lean into this like full bore and have it be sustainable. I want to be able to give back to some organization that's going to be able to further make an impact. So why don't we take some of the revenue that we make and give it back and send it over to some organization that will be able to help further this. Meanwhile, making cyclists feel good and look good and just enjoy themselves while being on the bike. So I won't speak for him. I'll definitely let him speak to his part. But when I downloaded with him on it, I fell in love with it. I actually thought about going into sustainability and changing my major. My wife talked me out of changing my major right before I ended up graduating. But sustainability at that time was, from an educational standpoint, was just kind of breaking through. And so, I found a lot of interest in it. I actually started going to school for environmental design or landscape design, and definitely have a passion for that. So it all kind of stems from that. And I guess this is my opportunity to be able to maybe create some space for me to make an impact there, or follow that dream, if you will. With a close friend of mine, one of the Ironmen, who ended up finding a passion for cycling as well. He, through this, always wanted to create a brand that was a little bit different and stood for something. So he started down that path, and one day I ended up coming across Instagram, and he had like already kind of started like putting some things out there. I just saw like a coming soon I think it was spring or January 2021, sometime last year. And I'm like, all right, who all is following this? And I look and it's like my close friend, his family, a couple of like probably like 10 other friends who were following it. I'm like, Jason, what is this? What is Rome? You know, what is this Rome cycling? You are keeping a secret from me. He's like, oh, it's just like this little thing that I'm working on. And I'm like, well, you got to give me more than that. What is it? And he's like, well, you know, it's going to be a sustainably focused cycling apparel brand. I'm like, oh my God, tell me more. Like, this is right in line with some of my passions. And let me know, like, if I can help with anything. And he actually, this was the time when he ended up flying out for a business trip and asked if I wanted to go for a hike, which ended up turning into a photo shoot. And so we got to talking about the brand a little bit more, and I fell in love with it. And, you know, from the name all the way down to what it stands for and what the impact will be. So I am wearing the shirt now. And so if you're familiar, you know, I thought it was very well thought out. This is the alchemy symbol for Earth. And the brand is Rome, and comes together as Rome, the Earth. And then with the sustainability efforts that we're planning on putting together behind it, I'm like, I've got to get on board. Like, how can I help you? How can I be a part of this? So that's ultimately where the genesis of it started. And since then, I've actually fallen even more in love with it. And, you know, he let me know, he's like, you have a great vision for this, and I'm not going to be able to do all this by myself. Like, do you want to jump on board for the long haul? I'm like, yes, absolutely. Let's do something cool here. So yeah, the rest is history. Yeah. Well, not history yet. We've got a few more hoops that we've got to jump through, but that's at least the story leading up to now.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I think we have matching Apple Watch bands.
Yeah. Jason actually gives me crap for my white one. He thinks I need a black one. I'll tell him right now, you and I are rocking with the main white with the black spots. You get it.
So yeah, I mean,
so you've obviously accomplished a lot of things. Is there like a certain quote or philosophy that motivates you or keeps you going?
Ooh, good question. Gosh, you know, there was a mantra that I followed for the Ironman, and you know, I'll probably butcher it because it's been 10 years since I repeated it every day, but you won't know how far you can go until you've gone too far. And that was kind of the mantra that I followed through the Ironman, and that got me through the distances. And I was always worried about some sort of injury, and I guess that's kind of followed me through all the way up till now. Even when I'm dog tired, trying to get through normal business, and then carving out space for Rome, and then also my boys, they play basketball and all of their things. Somehow you'll figure it out, right? You don't know how far I haven't yet passed out from exhaustion, so I guess I'll keep putting more on, or I don't know, maybe I'll sleep a little less and see if I can shave off another hour there. But it really does help not having to commute at this time, and being able to do everything virtually and not having to travel. I guess the energy reservoirs got a little bit of charge. So thanks COVID for that piece. But I say that all joking aside, it was a very serious pandemic. So I don't want to make light of it by any means, but it was something that I was able to take advantage of and lean into for myself. So, wherever one door closes, another opens. I guess that's another good quote too.
Yeah, personally, I mean, for me right now, I just try to tell myself that if things are kind of bad now, I mean, it's okay, because personally, for me, I know that I still have a lot of my life to live, and a lot of people still have a lot of their lives left to live. I feel like people like kind of live in the present too much. Like they always think about like what's happening to them right now, what's going to happen to them like in the immediate future. But if you kind of like take a step back and then you realize like these, like let's say like coronavirus, right, and the whole pandemic, right? A lot of people are going around and saying like, oh, like I'm wasting my life right now. So much time has gone by. Nothing has happened. You know, I'm wasting the prime of my life. But at the end of the day, it's just going to be like 1 or 2 years, right? And most people these days, they're going to live past 80 or maybe even 90, right? So in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big a deal when you think about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like I'm pretty sure everyone at the beginning of the pandemic, like quarantine, they realized it was gonna be over in like 2 or 3 months. So they were like, okay, we'll just enjoy it. Cause like at first, and for like people in school at least, it was kind of just like, oh, we get a 2-week spring break instead of like a 1-week spring break, you know? And then we're gonna come back to school and that's it. So and then later in like August or around that time, everybody was like we had so much time and we just like we could have used it to do something for ourselves, you know?
Yeah. Tell me about that experience, because I mean, my kids are so young, they don't know any difference. They're like, yeah, we get to be home with you. But when are we going back to school? They actually miss their friends at school. That's probably like the biggest feedback that I've heard, but I can't even imagine what that would be like and having it shut down. Did you guys end up doing virtual classes, or how did?
Yeah, we had
Tell me.
yeah, we had so it was like we got kicked out of school like a week before spring break. So they just said that it was gonna be like we're gonna have the week off and then we're gonna go into spring break and then we'll see if we can come back to school the week after. But they already planned out like the Zoom meetings just in case, and then we ended up going through with that. And we had like work to do in every class for every day, but it was like very like not serious because they just thought we would come back to school. So they were just kind of like trying to pass time, trying to get us to do something. And then we just ended off the school year like that.
Wow. So were you graded like traditionally? Like,
Like so the grades that we ended off school with were like our concrete grades, and the ones that we did after weren't really like counted as grades, even though they went in the grade book. Like if you like didn't do as well, like virtual, then they just take the original grade as your semester grade. So
I
that was
gotcha.
plus, I guess.
That's so wild. I cannot even imagine. What year are you guys?
I'm a junior.
Junior.
I'm a junior.
I can't even. And then
Yeah, it sucks a lot because like especially for the seniors, like last year's seniors, right, they missed out on prom, graduation, all those things, and then this year's seniors they've missed out on like pretty much everything. I mean, like maybe like prom and graduation, there's still hope for that, but other than that, I mean, like the whole year's been online, and they've, you know, I think at least for me and her, I think we'll still be able to get a somewhat normal senior year.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. So is spring break now for you guys, or coming up?
It's in like a week. It's
pretty much the 1-year anniversary of, you know, like everything.
Yeah. Man, I can't even imagine.
I think Saturday's the 1-year anniversary of being kicked out of school.
How do you guys feel about that?
I mean, yeah, like back then people thought like, oh, we get an extended spring break, like hooray, like right. And then like we didn't think it was gonna go on for this long. We just thought it was gonna be like a few weeks thing, maybe like a month, and then it'd be done, and then we'd go back to normal. But then like after a while, like it just kept getting dragged on, and like the cases kept going up, and then like it just kept on, you know, getting longer and longer, and then like eventually we kind of realized like,
yeah, I still remember like videotaping like the announcement. Like we had an announcement in third period saying like on Friday, the last day of school, saying that we weren't gonna come back to school the next week. And I remember like videotaping the entire announcement. So it's gonna be crazy to like re-listen to that on Saturday.
Oh my gosh.
That was a year ago.
Yeah. Well, and what was going through your mind there? I mean, I was like almost fearful, you know. I'm like, whoa, this is scary. Like, what the heck? What is going on?
Yeah, I don't think anyone like, at least like none of my friends or anyone were really like fearful. We're just kind of like we were kind of hoping that we'd get the week off just for the second, like the 2 weeks of spring break instead of one, just to get extra days off of school. But we really didn't expect this to happen. Like 1 week of school wouldn't have been so bad if the pandemic didn't exist.
Yeah, man, I cannot even imagine. We didn't skip a beat with business. I mean, we moved everybody into, working from home, and that business as usual. Like, it was not anything different. We were constantly having to create. That was probably the wildest part, was creating all of like the signage that had to go onto the property for what does the mask look like? Is it going to be on brand with the brand of the asset? Like, those were like the wildest things. And so it was busier than ever. It definitely did not feel like it was any downtime by any means. But it was kind of terrifying at the same time too. You would hear, I had just brought on a new hire, and she had family that was in Wuhan. And I'm like, oh my God, like, how are they doing? What's going through their mind? Like, it was so, I was almost fascinated by it and how it affected everybody's lives individually, and their families. Like, it's just such a different experience for everyone. It's kind of wild. So your experience with school, I'm like, what? I can't even imagine. Like, what was that like?
Everyone took it really lightly at the beginning. They were like, there's no way this is going to turn into like a big thing. Because it's just like, it seems like almost impossible at the time.
Yeah, right. I'm glad I wasn't alone in that mindset.
I remember for us as well, like none of us really thought too much about it at the time. And I think a lot of us, including me, actually, we were actually kind of hoping that school would be canceled, because the only thing we that went through our minds at the time was, oh, like an extended spring break. Like, that sounds cool, right? So like none of us could have expected like that, like the whole world would have, just completely shut down at the time.
I know. It was wild. Well, we're here a year later.
Yeah, a whole year later. So I guess if we don't have much else to talk about, we could like do the outro now.
Okay.
Well, what inspired? I have some questions. I mean, I guess one. What inspired?
Okay, so wait. So all the awkward moments that happened, they're all gonna be cut out for the final bit. So you don't have to think about that. Okay.
Sounds good. Well, and I can save them till the end, unless we want them on the recording.
I mean, well, that's pretty much all the questions that we had. So we can move on.
Yeah. How did you guys get into this? I mean, how did you hear about it, or how did you come about wanting to lean into this idea of being able to help others that don't have access, and being able to kind of get those individuals bikes and help them find their passion? I know how I would be able to fall in love with it, but I had never heard about it before, until you guys had reached out.
Yeah. Oh, funny story actually. So like our friend named Aryan, he's the one who kind of runs the show behind everything. He's the one who like founded the organization. He's the one who like runs it these days. Personally for me, I joined because I think it was because like I had nothing else to do, right? Because I was stuck at home, and I decided like, hey, like, because I remember I was scrolling through social media one day, and I saw like a post that my friend had posted. It was about like, oh, like we have this like organization called Wheels for All, and our job is to like provide bikes and stuff to people who can't afford them. And I was like, I mean, like I haven't really done much in terms of like helping the community, especially since recently it's not been that easy to do that anyways. So I decided, like why not? Like why not do a little, thing on the side for helping our community? That's how I joined.
Yeah, I think for
That's
me, like,
amazing.
I mentioned like roller skating over the summer. Like sometimes I'd steal my brother's bike and stuff. And it was like even though it was like a pandemic, I kind of had fun like over the summer because we just went biking everywhere. Like it was just me and one of my other friends, and we would bike like all day for like miles and miles. And it was just fun, and it was like nice outside and everything. So I don't think I would have done this if we were still in school, but it was kind of, I ran across it, like one of my friends showed it to me, And I was like, might as well just give it a try. Like, it's fun.
Yeah. Oh, it's incredible. I absolutely love it. So how long has Wheels for All been around? Was it just started this year or last year?
I think it like came to be around maybe this time last year or something around that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I joined in the summer.
Very cool. And how many bikes have you guys donated already or been able to provide?
Over 100 actually, so that's been pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. And how many, so is it just the three of you or how?
Oh no, we have lots of
Yeah, we have a
yeah,
cross
we have lots of people.
country.
And we have like divisions that have been set up in like several different states. Like we have like here, like the two of us, we're in Illinois right now. And I think we have divisions in like New Jersey, Florida, and places, and Georgia as well, I think. So
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, that's pretty cool.
So, all right. So Illinois, Jersey, Florida, and where else?
Georgia.
Georgia. Okay. Wow. That's pretty incredible that fast you guys were able to make an impact that quickly. Where in Illinois are you guys?
Chicago suburbs.
Yeah. My wife's from West Suburbs, Naperville.
In the west.
Yeah, I'm from there. Like
No way.
I
She went to Wabanzi.
I go there too. That's my
No
school.
way.
That's my school.
WAUB. ONSIE.
Oh wait, yeah, that's my school actually. Wait, where did you guys like meet? Like, how'd you guys meet up?
Yeah. So I am originally from Georgia, and my dad mentioned, he was like, "Hey, I'm thinking about taking a job relocating, and it's either going to put me in St. Louis, Arizona, Phoenix, or Scottsdale, or Orange County. And I'm not sure, but I am going to be flying out to Arizona in March if you want to go." I'm like, "All right, dope. That sounds cool. Like spring break in Arizona. Why not?" Arizona State, I know, is a big party school, so I'll go check it out. And then he ended up finding a house that he locked down, and we ended up getting the keys to it while I was out here. And so we ended up, I think it was spring break 2008. My wife, so I was in a fraternity. And this is probably like how my passion for cycling came to be, or my interest in cycling was through the fraternity. They would actually do it's called the Journey of Hope. And they ride bikes across America from San Francisco to Washington, D.C. At the footsteps of the Capitol. They do it every summer. So that was like super inspirational for me. But that group of guys, we ended up going on spring break together, and coming back, we're unloading my buddy's car, and I looked over at the pool, and there was this beautiful blonde that was sitting out of the pool. I'm like, I should go talk to her. So we met at college, and it sounds like me being a total creep, being like, "Hey, what's your name?" And then the rest is history. That was 2008, and we're celebrating on the 15th our 7th anniversary, wedding anniversary.
That's really cool. That's cool.
Congratulations. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, shoot your shot. So anytime you get the chance, don't be afraid.
It's like something you hear about like in the movies, like how two people meet.
Yeah, I honestly, if you would have told me then, I mean, I felt like I fell in love at first sight. She wanted nothing to do with me. She was like, "Oh my God, it's like another frat guy. This guy is so lame." And she like blew me off. I tried to set a date with her, and she ended up turning it into like a group hang with a bunch of other people. And it's like, man, I am gonna win her over. I am a good guy. I know that I'm a catch, and she's beautiful. So I'm just gonna keep at it, and the rest is history. Finally won her over.
That's really.
But yeah, she moved here in 2005, and then her brother also went to Waubonsie. He was on the wrestling team. So God, when did he graduate? I don't know if, do you guys have older brothers that went to, or siblings that went to Waubonsie as well?
No, I'm the oldest in my family.
Okay. I was gonna say, there may be somebody, Vikayla, if you're familiar. Gosh, I'm trying to think who has younger siblings. Colarusso, the Colarussos. No, worth a shot. 9 degrees of separation. Everybody's connected somehow.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Well, is there anything that I can do for you guys, and as far as your initiatives, business initiatives go? I would love to stay in contact with you guys as we continue to grow, and if there's a way that we can help in any way, shape, or form, I'd love to be able to make an impact. We're obviously trying to get lifted off the ground ourselves, but definitely don't want to lose contact. I love what you guys are doing. I think it's absolutely amazing. That's something that, Jason and I, when we connected, cycling is predominantly, when you look at it, white male, and we want to break that and make it inclusive. I think a lot of it comes from that ability to access it. Cycling, is not a cheap sport, or hobby, for that matter. So even myself, I'm looking at bikes and I'm like, oh, that's so expensive. I don't know, maybe I should put it towards the kids' college fund. I think everybody should be able to at least have one bike, even as a kid. I love what you guys are doing, and would love to stay connected as things go on, as time goes on, and keep you guys posted on the launch. And do you focus specifically, forgive me for not having all my homework done, but is it for adults and low-income family adults, or is it mostly for kids that you focus on? Or
well, yeah, we try to focus on kids because, how kids
yeah,
every kid has a bike, so we want to kind of just help them out, help the ones who can't afford one.
Yeah.
Anything
I literally,
good to kids. It's for anyone. It's not limited, but
yeah. How do you identify the families? Or is it a community outreach?
Yeah,
or
we kind of reach out to communities, and then we kind of organize everything from there.
Very cool. Very cool. Man, my wife just sold my youngest bike, and I wish I would have connected with you guys sooner, but they're continuing to grow. They grow like little weeds. So the bikes that they have now, I know they'll eventually grow out of. So we'll be in touch. I'll let you know if they don't completely destroy them and they're reusable, or how does it work? Is it via donation or?
Yeah. So because obviously because kids, they grow up, right? So maybe a kid starts out with a small bike, and then over the years they get bigger bikes. So the smaller bikes, after they're not useful to the original kid anymore. Usually they get donated, and then we fix them up if there's any issues, and then we donate them to low-income families.
That's amazing. And who do you guys do you go to bicycle shops that repair it, or how does?
We have an engineering team. They're pretty talented, and so they do the heavy lifting. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, they could probably teach me a few things, because I still have to take my bike in the shop, and I feel like I don't know enough about it. I would love to have full autonomy and being able to manage it myself. So that's super cool that you guys do that. I absolutely love it. Do you have branded partnerships that you work with already?
I'm not exactly sure about that, actually. We might have some other nonprofit organizations that we partner with to kind of like, like for projects and stuff. But other than that, I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah. And maybe, as we continue to grow and launch, we can help promote with you guys, cross promote, collab, I think is what they call it now.
That's a really good idea. I think I'll definitely let everyone else know about that.
Yeah, keep me posted. Well, awesome. I think those are all the questions that I have for now. I guess, where do you just so I know, where do you guys keep your podcasts or interviews, or share them?
This one was the first one we're actually like recording with the faces and everything. The other ones are not all of them are posted yet. Not all of them are posted yet. We're still like editing them and getting them out. We're trying to do like one per week, but this one's gonna be on YouTube and Spotify.
Oh, amazing. Oh gosh, well, please don't make me sound like a total dork.
My brother's actually editing, so I'll make sure to tell him that.
Yeah. I am totally cool with you guys have creative freedom. Well, you'll have to send me the link once you guys get through with the editing, and I'd love to be able to share it, through the brand building. I have started to build up a little bit of a following. I am like, if there's a micro influencer, I would call myself even smaller than that, like a nano, or whatever, maybe even be even smaller than that. But I have started to connect a little bit more kind of with the global cycling community, and have like 2,700 followers, and would love to be able to share out to them news about you guys once the podcast is done, if you're okay with it.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. Will do. Well, I imagine, well, David, you have my cell phone number, so feel free to shoot me a text once it's up. And I do subscribe to Spotify as well, so I will keep a lookout. How do you guys like doing the podcast? You're really good at it. It doesn't feel like this. Well, you said this is only your first one with the faces. I should have primped. How do you guys like doing it? Is it something that you do on a weekly basis, or? I feel like I am not a good interviewer.
No.
So.
Yeah. I think honestly, like this episode is probably one of our best episodes.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
For me or for you?
Well, I guess for everyone. But basically, we reach out to people on Instagram. That's our most. That's how we usually reach out to people, and then we kind of like arrange like a date and time. And maybe we try to get to know them, like get a basic idea of what they do. And then, then it just goes from there. And then after we're done, Harika's brother is actually in charge of like editing and making everything look fancy. And then it goes out and then it gets released.
That's so cool. You guys, I love it. Like, keep this energy, keep doing this. It is super cool. I think you guys will become a huge thing, and I'm sure you'll connect with some really, really awesome and probably more official, talented cyclists other than me. But I'm honored. I really am. Thank you so much for reaching out to me. This is super cool. And thank you so much for telling me more about Wheels for All, and giving me an opportunity to share a little bit about my story.
Yeah, actually, for our first episode, we interviewed another cyclist. He's kind of similar to you, I think. He's like in his 20s, I think, and he's from Denmark, actually, which is really cool. But I think you guys are like really similar, so maybe I could like introduce you guys or something like that. I think that'd be
that'd be dope. I love meeting other cyclists. Every ride has its own story that's like a movie, and there's a lot of the guys that are out there right now are just so super talented with what they share. There's like this hybrid culture that's occurring with cyclists and photographers, and I love seeing the shots that the guys are doing just on their own. It's so super cool. So yeah, any anybody introduction wise, would love to meet with any other cyclists, and we'll do some virtual coffee.
Yeah.
Well, that's all for today. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. If you guys enjoyed the podcast, follow us on Instagram at Wheels for All and check out our website, wheelsforall.org. Thank you so much for joining us on Roll On today, Heath. You can check out his Instagram at HEEZY. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we head off?
No. Thank you so much for having me. This was, I had a blast. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share a little bit about my story and teach me a little bit more about Wheels for All. And, you know, thank you for sharing my Instagram handle as well. Feel free to follow me. I'm already following you all, but, you know, you guys everyone can roam with us, and can't wait to see the impact that you guys are going to have. Truly great stuff.
Yeah, it was great having you. I'll see you all next time. This is Harika and David signing off.